Let me tell you about the moment I realized my pain didn't have to hold me back. I could actually turn it into power. I recently went through a tough season that made me evaluate myself, the way I showed up, the way that I think. Instead of allowing it to break me, I decided that this was the perfect moment for transformation. So in this video, I'm sharing how I turned that experience into progress and how you can use it to move forward with what you're going through too. First, let's talk about what pain usually does and why we avoid it. I think pain, it makes us very critical of ourselves. I believe it puts us in a state of hopelessness, and that can be very difficult to deal with. I think pain can also be very uncomfortable in the sense that it shows you, some things that may need to change that we're comfortable with and don't necessarily want to change. Realizing all of this led me to my mindset shift. So what shifted for me is, I remember the exact moment that I felt like a switch go off. And I was dealing with this really painful experience. And in the middle of it, I realized that in life, pain is unavoidable. More than likely, this won't be your first or last painful experience. It made me realize that I could use this experience to move me forward instead of moving backwards. So in the past, I have allowed painful experience to destabilize me in a sense, and I didn't use my past experience productively. So I'm gonna show you how I turn my pain into momentum. So number one would be to honor what you're feeling, sit in it, and allow yourself adequate time to process it. Feel the full range of emotion, cry, vent about it. Really take the time to process it without distractions and without avoidance. This will give you the opportunity to actually reflect on the painful experience and use it for progress. So typically we avoid it, we try to distract ourselves, and we try to find a way out. But that isn't doing anything for you. It's actually just, you're delaying the inevitable and you're not actually learning from the experience that you've had. So this gives you an opportunity to grow from it and show up differently moving forward. We're also acknowledging that whatever you're going through, it's probably not the end of the world. So we want to acknowledge it, accept it, but we don't want to stay there, and we don't want to allow it to ruin us. So number two would be putting your pain to work. So the way I can articulate it would be to, instead of internalizing the painful experience, externalize it. So you want to convert it into productivity. This would be an opportunity to ask yourself, how can I make this work for me instead of against me? Number three would be to keep your routine and one small non-negotiable. So in my instance, my non-negotiable was YouTube. So I made a promise to myself that despite what I was feeling or going through at the time, is that I would remain consistent with YouTube. Another aspect of that is keeping your routine. So typically on an average day, I get up in the morning, I beautify myself, I will dress well. So I made sure that I continued to do those things. I continue to show up for myself. So for you, that could be, like I said, it could be anything. It could be one aspect of your routine, or like I said, a small non-negotiable, something that you do despite what it is happening around you. So those are the 3 steps that I took in the moment. And now I want to give you the framework, the kind of bigger picture of that 3-step process. So number 1, we're going to honor how we're feeling and acknowledge our experience, not run from it. So we are processing and reflecting. Number 2 is clarity and discipline. Number 3 is identity and alignment. I believe that pain gives us a brutal sense of clarity. It reveals to us the ways we've been showing up that don't exactly work, that aren't productive. I believe it gives us an opportunity to assess some ways in which we can make changes. And just to put it into perspective, ask yourself this: how can I make better choices for myself moving forward? I believe it also gives us an opportunity to assess the things that we don't like. And this could apply to anything, whether it be bad habits, relationships, environments. We really get a better idea of the things that we don't want. And also, along with what we don't want, we also can use this opportunity to realize what we do want and what we haven't been honoring as far as what we do want. So along with clarity, we have discipline. This is referencing back to the steps I mentioned earlier. So how can we use our painful experiences to fuel our discipline? When you are going through a painful experience, ask yourself, do I want to come out of this experience better, or do I want to come out worse? And along with fueling our discipline, keeping your routines and giving yourself a non-negotiable. This builds discipline regardless of how you're feeling. The other portion of this framework is identity and alignment. So as far as identity goes, I feel like my recent experience made me more resilient and changed the way I responded to painful experiences. I feel like it also elevated my mindset. So if you can use your pain productively, I mean, it makes you unstoppable. It is honestly, it's a huge life hack. I would say resilience and mindset are things that are part of identity, and they cannot be taken away from you. So the reason why I put alignment last is because it brings together the full picture of everything we spoke about. So if we can identify the things we don't want, if we can elevate our mindsets, this better aligns us with the outcomes we do want. So my encouragement to you would be to change the way you look at setbacks. As Kevin Gates said,
when you change your perspective, that's when miracles happen.
And this is just what worked for me. I am not perfect. I do not have all the answers. but I'm hoping that this may help someone else in trying times. So that is it, and I will see you guys in the next video.